to ArchRivals Football, sponsored by Raz Energy and Steiner Sports. Here is your starting lineup. Number 20, Darnell the Playmaker Salins. Number 94, Alex the Bearman Alcazaz. Number 69, Ricky the Prez Litwinkowicz. And in tribute to our fallen colleague, ArchRivals Football, Ring of Honor member, Alex Fleming. This show is a Pain Train Pipe Bomb production. What is up, boys and girls around the world, 75 countries plus? This is ArchRivals Football Season 3. Three. It'll be Season 3 till August, and then we go into Season 4, which should be ultimately interesting on a lot of fronts. Tonight with me, I got the Bearman, Mr. Alex Alcazaz. What's doing, Bearman?
Just ready to talk some football before I go back to playing some live video game streaming, and I'm sure Mr. John Misak is going to tune in.
Well, I might tune in while I'm gaming. I don't know yet. I just I'm a little bit just besmirched about a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying?
And a friendly warning to everybody: if I play Grand Theft Auto, okay, expect Grand Theft Auto style gameplay. Okay, so if I offend you, I mean, come on, it's Grand Theft Auto. Of course, I'm gonna take it to that level.
All I know is this. So, in tonight's show, we actually have some NFL news that went on. We could not be here Saturday, so obviously we may cover something that you already know. But as it is a pipe bomb tradition, we always put our spin on what is going on in the NFL. So just know that if we say something that offends you, good. I just did my job. We also have USFL preview. Now, I've been told that the USFL is not real football. I beg to differ. Okay?
Well, it remains to be seen, right? It remains to be seen.
Regardless, okay? I gotta switch the window for a minute. Bloop. There we go. Just so it makes it look like I'm actually looking at Alex. I'm gonna say this. I believe that the USFL, just like the XFL, is going to give us a twist on what exactly is going to be happening in the future. Now, before we delve into the NFL, there was a experimental football league here in Brooklyn. Okay? What's up, Steven? Steven's watching us on Twitch. So, there was an experimental football league here, and guys from the league actually got signed by NFL teams. Now, in my opinion, is this going to happen with the XFL and the USFL? Absolutely. Tonight's show, we're going to preview the quarterbacks of the 8 teams. The league starts exactly April 16th. So 9 days after opening day of baseball, we will have more football. Myself and Alex will be covering the USFL. 4 games per week. Obviously, the list of the teams is going to be great. So we have that going. And, Bearman, shall we drop a little bit of a bomb on what's going on?
Well, as far as the NFL, yes. But I got to ask, as far as the USFL goes and the XFL and all these other leagues of football, if they're all working together, you know what that's going to remind me of?
What?
Of the old school wrestling days back when pro wrestling was territorial and regional, when all the promoters would loan each other talents and all work together. Man.
I have somehow lost the chat, so I have to figure out where the chat is, because I got to say hello to everybody and let everybody know. I know we have Bernard's in here, Mark is in here. I believe John's watching us on YouTube. Mr. Stephen Waldman's watching us on Twitch. Wade Kite's watching us all the way from Vegas. So we got a nice little group of guys going on. And
oh yeah. Hey, Bernard.
Here is the announcement that I'm going to make. If you did not catch Pipe Bomb Radio NYC earlier today. I have an offer for you. And I know Mark heard it. Bearman heard it. I'm hoping Bernard heard it. How would somebody like some free money? Free money. That's all I got to say. Free money. All you got to do is sign up for the Super Draft Sportsbook app. Okay? Opening day, April 7th. We are going to have 2 games, promotional games, for the app. All you do is make an account. We're going to have a baseball, like a baseball fantasy deal, where you could draft an actual legit team and do that. And we're also going to try to do a fantasy pick'em. If it works out, somebody will possibly win $100 or more. Takes not even 2 minutes to sign up for the app, create an account. If you like what you see on there, because there's fantasy football, there's fantasy baseball, fantasy hockey, basketball, NASCAR, golf. I mean, sports galore. Baseball is going to be huge this year, by the way. So we are going to set up a promo for you guys. All you got to do is sign up. That's all you got to do. And if you like what you see, hell, they have it like a $10 package or a $20 package, or if you really want to spend a lot of money, you are a pretty bad gambler. If you do have a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLE, I believe is the number. Pop on. I'm guaranteedly telling you, you will absolutely love what you see. This app,
it's all free. It's free, right?
It is all free, and this app works in states where DraftKings don't work, where Caesars don't work. This app is perfect for you. Like I said on the show earlier, I actually bet on basketball for the last 2 weeks. I bet on the New York Knicks, for Christ's sakes. That deserves a freaking head slam in the door. And I won. I won 5,000 coins on the app. So if I could bet on basketball, so can you. Sign up for the Super Draft Pro. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Well, how much is it for real?
Okay, so this is the deal, all right? If you sign up and there's a promo code, right? They have a thing where you can actually bet on a group weekly where they give you a payroll. Some weeks it's 2,000 coins. Some weeks it's 5,000 coins. It depends on which one you jump into, okay? I jumped into the 2,000 one, and by the end of the week, I had almost 15,000 coins. Plain and simple. That's all I ask. But we had it for the Super Bowl. Nobody took part in it. And there was a free $100 sitting right there for anybody that won. Okay, I won. I didn't win the $100 because it was my promo. But I'm telling you right now, the links are in the videos. The links are always in the audio. Go sign up. Make an account. We will have the contest set up for you. It's either a fantasy pick'em for baseball, or we're going to do a fantasy draft for baseball just for opening day. And there will be prizes. I can put my name on the line for that. Cut and fire promos again, Alex.
I mean, what am I waiting for? I really should start using the app.
I'm telling you, it costs absolutely nothing. But if you like what you see and you want to get into some of the bigger ones, they have dollar contests. They have $2 contests, $5, $10, $20. In fact, we got one of my new signees that signed up is got a $200 entry for $15,000. Imagine that. $200 for $15,000.
So it's nothing to sign up for, and then of course you got to invest, and you can make more.
Exactly the point.
Lucky. It's about getting lucky, but give it a shot. You don't have to gamble each time. You could just make a free bet, and then maybe you're good at betting. But yeah,
and you get free spins for tickets and coins every day. So if you just so happen to run out, you get a free spin. You get like 1,000 coins. You can build off of that. But it is absolutely a great app. I'm working with Dan right now to make sure that we can get the game up, and let's have some fun for opening day. I'm absolutely happy that baseball is back. Yeah, we have the gap between NFL and USFL, but yeah, I'm kind of cool with that. So give it a shot. That's the most I could say. Stealing a little bit of Jamal's stuff giving it a shot. All right, Alex, lead off the NFL.
Well, where do we start, President? Do we start with Von Miller signing with the Buffalo Bills?
Yes, give us all of the details on that lovely signing.
I mean, at first it was actually heavily rumored that he was going home to play for the Cowboys, but I kind of figured, okay, yeah, I mean, if it does happen, I mean, cool. But I really had a feeling he was going to go back to the LA Rams. So I released that episode on my show, Cowboys Talk, about him possibly coming to Dallas, and then probably about 6 hours later, he signs with the Bills. And if you ask me, the Bills made a big mistake. A big mistake. Because you want to talk about the details of the contract? Because I have it here.
Go for it, and then I'll rip a new asshole on this one.
$120 million, 6 years, and $51 million, I believe, is guaranteed.
Did I not? Yeah. I'm just going to ask you this question.
Actually, to be precise, it's $51,435,000 guaranteed.
So he's still getting paid $60 million for 6 years, right?
Pretty much. Now I'm glad the Cowboys didn't sign, because I'm telling you, look, if the Cowboys were to have signed him, I would have said it has to be a 2-year deal tops.
All right. First off, for a player who's had declining numbers the last 4 seasons. Hello. The only reason why he got paid the $120 million for 6 years is to put butts in the seats in Buffalo. Let us be definitely honest on this.
So in other words, it's a publicity stunt.
Again, that's like the Yankees unburying Babe Ruth and say, hey, you know what? We got this really awesome first baseman who will hit us 60 home runs a year, even though he's 100 years old. Let's get people in the Yankee Stadium. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean,
okay.
Babe Ruth, this did happen to Babe Ruth back when he signed with the Braves.
I said this when we had the last show. Is there going to be an overpay on fucking defensive ends or defensive players? And I said yes. But the problem is, are they worth it? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. Okay? If, God forbid that they didn't sign Von Miller, there was another player that just signed today that I probably would have rather seen to get a little bit more money than the, I think it's a little over $11 million per year, or a little under $11 million per year, and that would be the guy who signed with the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. He would be worth the money, not what Von Miller got. No way, absolutely.
Zadarius.
Which is actually kind of ironic because when A-Rod re-signed with the Packers, 4 years, $200 million, $50 million a year for a quarterback. Yeah, that was kind of a weird thing because Devontae Adams then signs with the Raiders.
Well, he was traded, actually.
Well, it was a sign and trade. Trade and sign.
Yeah, because he got a new massive deal. We'll probably get to that.
Okay, that was kind of the writing on the wall of guys leaving Green Bay. And for them to let their pass rusher go to a divisional foe, that is going to make a lot of life more interesting because, the AFC has gotten stronger where the NFC is not going to be as significant as usual.
Well, I actually got the details of Zadarius Smith signing with the Vikings. May I?
Sure.
All right, three-year deal with a base value of $42 million, but if you include incentives, that deal can be worth up to $47 million. Now, but here's what's interesting: he originally agreed to a deal with Baltimore, but apparently he backed out of it. I'm not entirely sure why. We're not entirely sure why, but the bottom line is, for whatever reason, the deal went down the toilet and. The Vikings, the Vikings made a move, and it worked out for him. But this whole situation with Green Bay, we knew that Devontae Adams was pretty pissed off about Aaron Rodgers being given that blockbuster deal. Now we all know that, right?
Listen, it's not the fact that he got the big deal, okay? It's the fact being is that there was no priority for him. That's the problem with this. A guy who's, I can understand, Aaron Rodgers gets you to the playoffs every year. out the first or second round, it's kind of synonymous, all right? But when you got a baller like fucking Devontae Adams, he should have been paid. Not
I agree.
not given the franchise tag, because that's the pussy way out. You got a legit Pro Bowl there. He's a Pro Bowl receiver almost every year, and you don't put any money to him?
Right?
Aaron Rodgers' favorite target doesn't even get any attention. That right there alone says, hey, guess what? This team is not really interested in signing me long term, or they really don't want to pay me.
So
Green Bay will just get whatever they can get for him. He'll go somewhere else. That's the way you look at it.
I mean, that's the way I see it. I mean, Devontae Adams felt exactly the way you described it. And he says, okay, well, then what? Fuck him. I don't want to be here. But, and honestly, with this whole situation, I'm super curious to know Bernard's thoughts on this situation, honestly.
I look at it this way, okay? Along with the other deal that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, because, like I said before, the AFC has gotten stronger. The NFC has gotten weaker. Plain and simple. Okay? Obviously, Deshaun Watson gets traded to the Browns. That's a big move. Baker Mayfield's sitting there holding his nutsack, trying to figure out whether he's even playing in 2022 or he's going to be on a different team or whatever. Okay?
Here's something interesting about Baker Mayfield. That it was actually revealed earlier, sometime last week, probably around Thursday or Friday. This was around when I did a piece for Playmaker's blog about the Watson trade, was that Baker Mayfield apparently had a falling out with management, and he demanded to be traded. And based on and after that, he demanded specifically to be traded to Indianapolis. We all know that's probably not going to happen, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Well, no, actually, we're going to go with that now, actually. Okay? So,
all right, well, lead the way, Mr. President. Please lead the way.
Okay, so obviously, rumors. Every broadcast journalist loves rumors.
No, not me, because rumors are dead ends, dude.
Not necessarily. Okay. Because the one big rumor is that the Indianapolis Colts were looking to acquire one Mr. James Garoppolo from the 49ers. Yep, I'm going proper name with him because, Jimmy G kind of sounds a little weird at this point. Sounds like a porn name.
Did a trade just not work out, or I guess they changed their mind? I mean, whatever the reason is, I mean, it's true. It was apparently there was a link that Jimmy G would be headed to Indianapolis, but
again,
it didn't happen.
But obviously that did not happen because they traded Carson Wentz to the Commanders. I hate that goddamn name. I really, I have a very big disdain for the Commanders.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. Washington going commando.
Another porn name. So that kind of left a little bit of a hole, right? 4 teams were interested in Deshaun Watson. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons, who had Matt Ryan at the time. Saints, who really didn't have a quarterback. The Carolina Panthers. And one other team, the Cleveland Browns. Okay? Now, miraculously, at one point, the Cleveland Browns said, hey, we're not doing the deal for Deshaun Watson. That's all fine and dandy. 24 hours later, boom. Here's a trade. A massive load goes for Deshaun Watson. And the Houston Texans are going to be the winners of this. I already put the money on this. The Texans are going to be the winners on that deal. Because they got so many draft picks. They got so many draft picks for that deal. And Atlanta's kind of like weird with holding the bag in their hand now because we still have Matt Ryan, but we were going to trade for Deshaun Watson. Well, it just so happens obviously the Jimmy G deal never got done. And Atlanta took a huge jump at trading Matt Ryan, who only got traded for a 3rd-round pick, by the way. That's kind of a little bit of a shit bag in the face to Matt Ryan that he's only worth a 3rd-round pick.
Well, at this point of his career, I mean, he's 36. I mean, Matt Ryan doesn't have much left. I mean,
yes,
if he's not past his prime, then he's this close to being out of his prime.
But you know what? Again, he had talent around him, and the last 2 years, that talent kind of disappeared a little bit. No Julio. Calvin Ridley goes out on his personal leave. You signed a tight end that he couldn't use very much because obviously he got double teamed throughout the majority of the season. So you kind of took away some of these weapons from him, and you can see kind of the slow decline a little bit. But now you put him in a system where he's actually got some weapons. He actually has a running back, not a hybrid. Gotta tell you, I think that's a little bit more of a better deal being in the Colts because they got a good defense. They have a good offensive line. They'll protect him and keep him upright. And they have a running game. So, in a way, Colts get a really, really good quarterback, a game manager, which was what they were kind of labeling Carson Wentz as not a game manager.
Hold on a second. Bernard actually has a response. May I, Ricky?
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Bernard. Thank you very much. So he says that good receivers are way easier to replace than good quarterbacks. They are looking at getting Julio Jones or another receiver better than Julio, although he's not sure who it is. I'm not sure either, but he basically says, Green Bay feels like they have a good chance at replacing their receivers. I mean, that's true. I mean, Green Bay, they always have a plan, don't they? They always have a trick up their sleeve.
I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. And here's why, okay? So, if you really want to look about it in the roundabout way, what happened when Davante Adams went out? Aaron Rodgers had to rely on a lot of guys, a lot of unproven guys. Their numbers were not eye-popping. Wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks are generational positional players. Go over the course of time, okay? I bring up that quarterback that everybody ranted and raved about way back when, drafted by the San Diego Chargers, Ryan Leaf. He was the big shit out of college. Didn't pan out to fucking being anything more than a freaking wanted poster. Jamarcus Russell from the Oakland Raiders.
I was hoping you'd mention that.
Everybody thought he was going to be absolutely phenomenal. This big, strong, rushing type style quarterback where they could try to compare him to Michael Vick. He turned out to be like, a 300-pound behemoth that couldn't throw the ball more than 25 yards. Okay? I cannot say that about receivers. I can't. There is nobody that will ever match a Randy Moss. There is nobody that will ever match a Jerry Rice. Nobody will ever match
Terrell Owens
or guys of that caliber. They are generational talents. Okay? In the NFL, if you do not have a top flight receiver on your team, you're not going to win. The Patriots are notorious for that right now. They do not have a number one receiver on their team. Their number one receiver retired. Julian Edelman. Okay? It is exactly the point, though. You cannot just go crazy with that. You have to have a guy that can take the top off of a defense. Davante Adams is a guy who can take the top off the defense. Okay? That's why every time Green Bay was down, Davante Adams was running across the middle with nobody covering him and getting all of these first downs. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that anymore. In fact, half of that wide receiving core are free agents right now. And they have not really done anything to bolster that offensive set. So Aaron Rodgers just got a big bullseye on him at this point.
Are you saying that the Packers are pretty much screwed, Ricky?
I believe they are. I tremendously believe that they are.
Because a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but I think, do you really pay over $200 million to a 38-year-old quarterback?
When he's the only one that gets you to the promised land, yes. Plain and simple. When he's the only one that gets you to the promised land, that's what you deal with.
And the promised land is the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And that was almost 12 years ago.
Nobody's perfect. But he gets you to the playoffs every year.
Yeah, he gets you to the playoffs, yeah.
Julio Jones was hurt the majority of last year and had shit numbers. That's why he only spent 1 year in Tennessee.
But I'm not sure. I'm actually, Bernard, I'm actually trying to think of this other receiver as well. But as far as, as that goes, I mean, I guess as Ricky would say, I mean, the wide receiver core in Green Bay, should we say it's depleted or there is no core whatsoever?
There is no core right now.
Okay, all
What do
right,
they have running? They have a running game. That's it.
Mr. Aaron Jones, yeah, but
They have a
yeah,
running game. That is it. They don't not have anything else. So yes, you got the guy who throws you the ball, but you don't have anybody really to throw the ball to. And I would have, I really, again, like I hate to say that Matt Ryan got shit on for only getting a third round, only being enabled with a third round pick, but unfortunately that happens. And Julio didn't do well. He didn't stay healthy the whole year. His numbers came down after I'd say first bunch of years of his career, which was great, but no. Like obviously it's a business. If you're not performing, you leave. You're not getting taken care of by the team that drafted you or signed you, you leave.
leave. That's simple. You got to make the decision. But anyway, so what do we got next, Ricky?
All right. There were some. I believe there was some notable other trades that happened. I find it a little weird that this happened, but apparently, if Baker doesn't get traded, somebody's going to be a backup. Case Keenum traded to Buffalo. Shaq Mason traded to the Buccaneers, which leaves a lot of people with a bunch of question marks on why Mr. Bill Belichick would send Shaq Mason to protect Tom Brady. That would be a little weird.
Jamison Crowder signed with the Bills as well, $4 million deal,
which gives them a lot of versatility at receiver. But I hate to say it, they're kind of overloaded at that position. I kind of feel that way because that wide receiver core is just ridiculous. And for Crowder to leave the Jets means he was not getting any play there. DeAndre Hopkins signs a 2-year, $54.5 million extension with the Arizona Cardinals. We had here, let me see, I'm going to go over this list again. Oh, Chad Henne, still in the NFL, by the way. He re-signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Buster Screen re-signed with the Titans. Allen Robinson signs with the LA Rams. I believe that was a 5-year deal.
And Robert Woods was traded to the Titans.
Yes, he was, which is a very big thing because now that wide receiving core, with or without OBJ, is a lot stronger than what it is because nobody knows what Robert Woods is going to be coming off of the injury.
Right.
The hybrid re-signed with the Atlanta Falcons, Cordell Patterson. I mean, it's there's a lot of interesting stuff going around in the NFL. I'm not going to lie. We just can't be here all the time to cover it.
Miles Jack signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers,
which I think is a great deal for him.
Yeah.
And that defense, the front seven is going to get stronger with gentlemen like him around. Because he was the Jaguars' leading tackler last year. I don't believe he was the sack leader on the team, but he was a very significant piece of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Darnell's watching in the chat, by the way. He's watching us.
I know he is.
On the Book of Face. The Tube of You. The Itch with a TW. All right. Time to shift gears from the NFL. Because as much as we like trades and free agency and stuff, Metcalf was the wide receiver. I was trying to think of earlier. Yeah, they would have to trade for him. I don't think that is happening. Somebody in Oriental language just liked our post in internet radio. That's pretty interesting. Cool.
Interesting indeed.
Shout out.
Okay. Well, Bernard actually confirmed the wide receiver that he was thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know if Metcalf is going to go there. I'll be honest with you. Seattle's got to keep somebody around to keep butts in the seats. Drew Lock is not going to keep them in the seats. Noah Fant is not going to keep them in the seats. So they need to have some type of draw to keep their fans decently happy. Like the 12th man, who is probably like, I'm going to be the 24th man by the time the end of the season's over.
Yeah, you weren't kidding. Seattle cleared the house.
Alrighty. It's time to switch. I like switching. I really like switching because I really have been kind of drooling for the USFL that starts April 16th, 2022, a league that's been around, well, has not been around since 1989. That is bananas that this league has not been around. It is back in full swing. I am extremely happy to see that there is some type of alternative football between NFL seasons. As much as I love the Rock and the XFL, I think the USFL is going to prove a lot of people very shady of it wrong. And yes, it is football. It does have a helmet and pads and cleats and an actual football with uprights on a regular NFL-sized field. Pansy bastards. All right, so leading it off the NFL, they the USFL. They have a 13-week season, which is great. It will cover us throughout the majority of the summer. The first games have been scheduled April 16th. It is the New Jersey Generals facing the Birmingham Stallions at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will be a simulcast national, as they have it listed here, on Fox, NBC, and Peacock.
Well, you know what? Thanks to Darnell, then I'll be able to watch it on Peacock.
But if it's already on,
if I get to,
if it's already on Fox and NBC, which is kind of weird because here in New York the channels are back to back, so it'd be like Channel 4 and Channel 5 at the same time, plus Peacock. I'm pretty sure everybody else is probably going to watch it on regular TV. Then there is a triple header on Sunday, April 17th, which I believe is Easter, if my memory serves me correct. I believe that's Easter Sunday. It would be the Houston Gamblers meeting the Michigan Panthers at noon Eastern Time. The Philadelphia Stars playing the New Orleans Breakers at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Tampa Bay Bandits playing the Pittsburgh Maulers in prime time at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That should be an interesting Sunday. Easter Sunday is when the USFL has its triple header.
I mean, it's a treat, wouldn't you say? Houston.
Well, it's kind of weird because, I mean, I understand that they're playing on Easter, which is okay. I'm kind of okay with that.
Well,
However,
it's going to be football Sunday, so I'm sure a lot of people won't mind.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of like the same way of like when you have football on Thanksgiving, when you have football if it lands on Christmas or it lands on New Year's, it's going to kind of give you the same holiday feel except warmer. You know, like people won't be wearing like 3 layers of sweatshirts and parkas and winter hats and boots and ski pants. People will be wearing shorts and t-shirts and maybe 1 hoodie instead of 3.
Will they feel warm and squishy inside?
I don't know if I don't actually know if warm squishy has to deal with that one. Unless there's a lot of from other cheese going on, then it may be warm and squishy.
Oh boy. I gotta add the humor, folks. I really do.
Because if you don't have humor in half of these shows,
I'm sitting in the dark.
I don't know.
Sitting in the dark.
So, in the first round of the USFL playoffs, there were a lot of quarterbacks signed, 8 to be exact. So, leading it off, this is where I love my job because I get to switch everything around so much. There we go. The Panthers, the Michigan Panthers, who bit off of the Carolina Panthers logo, by the way. Just going to mention that. I'm not even going to lie when I tell you they bit off of the Panthers logo. It does not look cool to me, all right? The colors are horrible. They did draft quarterback Shea.
The logo's not so bad.
They draft quarterback Shea Patterson from Michigan. A little bit of the background. A 5-star recruit who starred at both Mississippi and Michigan in a storied college career that saw him pass for 8,800 yards, 68 touchdowns, and only 27 picks. He was the first quarterback drafted in the USFL for the new era, I guess.
Well, check this out. 2 years at Michigan, of course, he played under Jim Harbaugh, and he actually broke two records that was actually held not only by Harbaugh himself, but also by Mr. Thomas Edward Brady to be Michigan's all-time passer. And, well, actually, I did not know this. He was actually drafted in the MLB draft by the Texas Rangers, but I guess he opted to remain in football. And from what I understand, he had a stint with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he actually had a stint also playing in Canada, playing for the BC Lions as well as the Montreal Alouettes. I'm French American, I gotta say it like that, but I'll go ahead and say it the American way: the Montreal Alouettes. So I mean, it's probably brief, and these are just these stints, but it's on the resume, so that's what counts, if you ask me.
Next, we had drafted by the. Oh, I'm gonna love fucking going through all this shit. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Bandits, who drafted. I'm gonna trash this name, Alex. You try to back me up on this. Jordan Tamahu, if that's how you say it. He sounds Samoan, so I'm gonna try to go with that. Background on him: 2 flashy seasons at Ole Miss in which he completed 64.5% of his passes for 5,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, and only 12 picks, with another 507 yards and 10 scores as a ball carrier. He signed with the Houston Texans in 2019, jumped to the now defunct XFL, and then started for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Well, honestly, looking at his 2 seasons at the University of Mississippi, I mean, that's highly respectable. Definitely. I'll be honest. You could have, like, the best career playing college ball, but when you sign with an NFL team, if you go undrafted or if you're drafted, in the late rounds, the odds are not high. I mean, they could easily jump down to minimal at best. But it's a shame, really. I mean, because the NFL's not for everybody. I mean, they can only have 53 players on the active roster, and I'm not sure how many players the practice squad has now, but it's hard to make it in the NFL, especially when you're not a first round pick. But then again, first round, not all. I mean, a lot of first round picks do fail. A lot of them bust out.
Well, he has had stops with some NFL teams: the Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions. God forbid I got to say this name again on tonight's show, the Washington Commanders and the Carolina Panthers, but it did make him the number 2 picked quarterback in the NFL. At USFL, sorry. Stuck on NFL. All right, next up, by the way, when this was announced, it was announced by WWE superstar Big E Langston, or as everybody knows him as Big E. So that's kind of a big... That's a big what to do when you come up to being drafted in the USFL.
I mean, that's cool. A pro wrestler announcing me, I mean, hey, that's pretty cool if you ask me.
Number 3, the Philadelphia Stars drafted Brian Scott, Incidental College. Where the hell is Incidental College?
I don't know, but check this out. He was tabbed as the, quote, Aaron Rodgers of Division III, unquote. Okay.
I mean, he's got actually pretty good numbers here. 63.33% of his passes, 9,073 yards, 77 touchdowns against 22 picks in 33 games.
Very good numbers right there.
That's almost a 3-to-1 ratio on touches to turnovers.
And Occidental College is a college in Los Angeles. I just had to. I had to look it up. I really did.
He also does have some NFL experience, with it being the trips with the Rams, Chiefs, Falcons, and Colts. Played with the Edmonton Eskimos of the CFL and the Jersey Generals of Spring League. So that's kind of interesting in its own right.
Isn't the New Jersey Generals one of the USFL teams?
Yes, it is. Apparently, they
Okay.
have migrated the team name over to the USFL, which is actually a pretty cool deal.
Well,
He was
quite
actually, let me see if they tell me who was announced. Oh, he was announced by former Phillies shortstop Jimmy Rollins. That is
well.
very interesting.
Well, it's only fitting. I mean, it's the Philadelphia Stars, so you might as well have a former Philadelphia, player who played on a Philadelphia team make the announcing, right? It's
Yes.
only fitting. But so check this out. But basically, describe with a good size with body armor. Basically, he can read defenses well, and he shows both the aggressive mindset and enough arm to make tough throws. Patient and sneaky as a passer, has the ability to process the routes of his receivers and using his eyes to move defenders, and he can scan the field to take full advantage of those the most open and farthest downfield. Okay.
Unfortunately, though, it says he does not have a howitzer of an arm. So deep throws may not be great, but he might be like a Tom Brady style. Like he's got to use these short to intermediate routes to be able to get him and his offense downfield, which isn't a bad deal. But when it comes down to defenses at that point in time, it's going to be very big to be able to key on certain routes, cross routes, slants. Stop and goes may be probably his best bet, but he was the number 3 quarterback. Next up, my God, it's the New Jersey Generals, who drafted Ben Holmes from Tarleton State. He's a short guy, by the way.
Tarleton State University. That's in the state of Texas.
5'10", 200-pound Holmes started at wide receiver at Orchard Park High in New York before taking over quarterback at his senior year at Nassau Community College, where he was named Freshman of the Year at the position and Junior College All-American. Which is actually not bad. I mean, I'm not going to say Nassau Community College is one of those known colleges, but it's got some notoriety, I would think.
Well, for this, his senior season, that included a 7-game stretch where he threw for 18 scores without an interception, left with a 23-2 record as the starting quarterback. Okay. Going to this, I'm not sure. So it just says that he went on to play in the indoor football league, signing with the Arizona Rattlers, which as the 6-time champions. Okay. And the scouting report says he a savvy decision maker who distributes the ball quickly and effectively to all levels of the field. He can read defenses well. He rarely places the ball in harm's way and possesses just an average arm, but maximizes it with compact delivery and arguably the best anticipation and accuracy of any quarterback in the draft.
The good thing about the Arena Football League is that you don't have to deal with any weather conditions.
Yeah, it's called they call it the Indoor Football League for a reason, right?
Well, they could play in a dome.
Okay, true.
But, excuse me, a little tired from earlier.
It's been a long day for you, Rick.
I'll put it to you this way. I've watched Arena League football. I wasn't a big fan of it because they've had certain times where some games have just gotten kind of out of hand. Arena League football has got obviously different rules. However, for Arena League football, you have to be ultimately accurate. It's not a regulation size field. It's like a quarter of the NFL size field. So I'm not even joking when I say it.
No.
They've played in Madison Square Garden. They've played in the Coliseum. They played in the Meadowlands. It is not exactly a large field. It is like legit a quarter size NFL version of field. I think it's maybe
it's just the way you said it, like how serious you are.
It's like a 50-yard field.
But playing football at Madison Square Garden, I mean, that's something you don't really hear about.
Again, it's Arena League football. It was not huge here the same way lacrosse really wasn't huge in indoor. Like college is pretty much the deal. But Yeah, I mean that's how that goes. But if he's going to be accurate and he could play on a 6-time world champion Arena Football League team and be that accurate, then he may have something to say for. But again, when you're only playing on a limited size field, you really don't have to worry about throwing the ball 50, 60 yards. I think you're only throwing about maybe like 30 yards indoors. So, welcome to the USFL. He was the fourth quarterback, and he was announced by Hall of Famer Michael Strahan. Obviously, they're playing at the MetLife Stadium.
Right, and not only that, but Michael Strahan actually played at a small school in Texas, played at Texas State University.
Next up on the list, as we battle through the quarterbacks, the Houston Gamblers drafted Clayton Thorson of Northwestern. Go for it, Alex. Beat him up with the Northwestern guy.
Well, I don't know, but... Well, according to what I see, basically, he was a fifth-round draft pick by the Philadelphia Eagles back in 2019. Threw for a little over 10,000 yards and 61 touchdowns with 27 on the ground in his 4 years at Northwestern University. Had a 36-17 record during his time as a starter, competing in the Big Ten, which is brutal. Also spent time with the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants before he was selected by the Houston Gamblers at the number 5 pick. I actually was not aware that he was with the Cowboys. He must have just been one of those names that those writers just didn't bother writing, or maybe because the story just didn't get out there. I mean, I don't know why, but I'd imagine he tried out for a spot. I mean, I'd imagine the stint was very brief. Maybe that's why I don't know about it, but it's on the resume. I mean, even if you were the Cowboys for a day, you were with a professional team for a day. I mean, that goes on your resume, does it not, Ricky?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you actually play it down or not, you're still on there.
Yeah, you're still on there. Even if you're there for 24 hours, I mean, it's hard to stay there for 24 hours, honestly.
I don't know if Bon Jovi still owns the Philly team for the indoor league. Because I think it was the Philly team that he owned, not the Jersey team. The Jersey team wasn't that great anyway, and I don't think Bon Jovi would want to waste his time or money on that. They do have a listing here as the prototypical size quarterback, 6'4", 200 pounds. Started a Big Ten record of 53 games in his career. Ability to decipher defenses the way he protects the ball in the pocket. High with both hands until he's ready to throw, which could be a problem, especially for defenders reaching over the back to strip the ball. An elongated wind-up delivery. And here's the pitch. Throws the ball downfield. Good athlete showing some wiggle and smooth acceleration for the position. Announced by the legendary quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, Mr. Warren Moon. And the Houston Oilers, by the way. But he was more known for the Minnesota Vikings. That's got to be an honor itself to be announced by Warren Moon.
It does, yeah.
All right, Alex, I'm going to let you announce number 6.
All right, number 6, the Birmingham Stallions. Alex I can't even say it. McGo, Florida International University. Well, he was drafted in 2018 by the Seattle Seahawks, and apparently, based on this background, if I'm reading this correctly, it seemed like the Seahawks apparently thought of him as the idea to replace him in the future of replacing Russell Wilson, because the Seahawks were impressed with his quote unique combination of size, arm strength, and athleticism, unquote. Check this out. Well, spent his play international Florida, then was briefly with the Jaguars and the Houston Texans before he returned to Seattle on a futures contract, basically. And then during his time at Florida International University, he's the all-time leader in passing touchdowns with 65, as well as passing yards with a little over 9,000, with another 535 yards and 60 touchdowns on the ground. Okay?
Which goes to show, like, to the first 6 quarterbacks that we've spoke of, not only are they pocket passers, but they are very mobile in being able to advance the plays by running the ball. So they're multi-dimensional players at this point.
Basically, yeah. We could just tell the USFL is definitely getting my attention. I mean, really want to go out and watch them now.
But I have the monumental question. I'll let you marinate after these last two players that we talk about.
I mean, what?
Marinate.
All
right. I have no idea who. Actually, that would be Clemson head coach Dabo Swiney. I have no idea. But he was announced by the for the draft. Here's the question that I'll ask you. We'll go over these two quarterbacks, and then we'll kind of round it out.
All right.
If these quarterbacks were so good, and obviously we've seen multiple of these players have NFL interest, my question to you is, why are they not in the NFL? Let that marinate for a little bit. Okay?
Why are they not in the NFL?
Why are they not in the NFL if these numbers are so great?
Well, it's like I said earlier, the NFL is not for everybody. There's not enough room for everybody.
Yes, but when you have garbage quarterbacks, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, I'm trying to think of some other ones that'll just besmirching me right now. They're not in my head. Oh, like Daniel Jones.
Dak Prescott.
I don't know if anybody can match the crappiness of Dak, but
basically in this particular scenario, I think it's just, these teams just really I guess sometimes it's like this sport. Like if you don't go to those huge schools, it's almost like these teams just have no faith in you. But sometimes I think it's just lack of intelligence or maybe just no guts.
Either that or the scouting departments are horrible because our previous quarterback at number 6 played for Florida State International, which is where, again, we mentioned his name, Mr. Russell Wilson played and got drafted from in 2012. So if they plucked a Russell Wilson out of there in 2012, then Mr. Magoo should have been seriously looked at. Number 7. Former Giants quarterback Kyle Lauletta, out of Richmond College, drafted by the Pittsburgh Maulers. And give him a little bit of info on Mr. Lauletta.
Well, all right. Played at Richmond University. Actually, one time earned the MVP award following a 3-touchdown, no-interception game in 2018. And I'm not sure exactly. There's no information from that particular game, but he's actually the earliest NFL draft pick of the USFL quarterbacks, and he was a 4th-round pick by the New York Giants. And he offers the background, prototypical size, and arm talent to generate interest from fans and rival scouts alike, having completed about 64% of his passes of his nearly 1,200 career passes at Richmond University for 10,465 yards and 73 touchdowns with only 35 interceptions. So spent his time with the New York Giants, but also was with the Eagles, the Falcons, the Browns, as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars. So just another dude that had some potential, just bounced around the league, and here he is now.
Well, it's kind of funny because I don't remember him ever really having any real deal time on the field. But hopefully, maybe somebody will actually see something out of Lauletta. Apparently, the New York Giants did. Otherwise, he would have not been sitting on the bench. They had Daniel Jones there. There was this other dumb quarterback who got his jaw broken by his teammates. Yeah, he sat behind him. Yeah, the whole shebang with that. But he was announced by Hall of Fame quarterback and Fox broadcaster Terry Bradshaw, another legend. Finally, to round it out, as we kind of round out the show, the New Orleans Breakers This is the weirdest logo out of all of them. It is a wave and a bird. That's exactly what the logo is. It is a wave and a bird. Drafted Kyle Slaughter out of North Colorado. Go for it, Alex.
Man, look at that. Colorado just making me just think that I was there. Wow. Well, out of northern Colorado, actually. The ability to play multiple positions caused many college teams to view him at positions other than quarterback. So originally he signed with Southern Miss, which was actually one of the only two programs, along with Tulane, that offered him a scholarship at the position of quarterbacks out of high school. Now, he did have the promise to play quarterback, but that he was moved to wide receiver shortly thereafter, which is what actually prompted his transfer to Northern Colorado. But it says that he saw action at just about every offensive skill other than quarterback. So, obviously, in this dude's case, Mr. Kyle Slaughter, he wants to play quarterback because, he feels that that's his position. But apparently other teams and programs, and had a different opinion. So, but from what I understand, he did actually end up getting a chance at playing quarterback again, thanks to injuries to teammates, and he excelled at it, completing 62% of his passes, a little over 2,600 passing yards with 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and that's what prompted the Denver Broncos to sign him back in 2017. So I'm actually going to ask myself, I wonder if Mr. John Misak remembers this guy. Now, he did complete 31 out of 43 passes for a little over 400 yards and 3 scores in the preseason. But Denver apparently was unconvinced, so they released him. And then he would go on to have stints with the Vikings, the Cardinals, the Lions, the Bears, and the Raiders.
I wonder how many flyer miles he has. Because that's a lot of different directions to go in. Denver to Minnesota. So you go northeast, then you go back southwest, then you go back east again, and then you stay pretty much in the same time zone. Then you go west. That's a lot of flyer miles.
Oh, big time. But you know what amazes me, Ricky?
What?
Is that even though other teams thought of him as playing a different position, he strongly insisted that, okay, maybe I am good at receiver. Maybe I am. Or actually, I definitely am. But I think I'd be best at quarterback. I mean, he's the dude with the guts to stick to his guns because he feels that's what's best for him. So, and him like prompting the transfer, it's like, all right, fine. If you're not going to give me what I want or what I deserve, then I don't want to be here.
In other words, he did not want to become another Taysom Hill. Pretty much. That's exactly what it is. He did not want to become another Taysom Hill.
But you might be right. But at the end, I mean, I don't know if I want to risk putting the words in the dude's mouth. But that's the particular situation. He basically, I think he feels I should be one position because I think, having one duty because, we're teammates, it should be like that. But yeah.
He was announced by future Hall of Famer, and I'm telling you future because if he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, I don't know why. But he was announced by former San Diego Chargers and former New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. Which now they're comparing only with the difference of that he's a lot more versatile with ball carrier, that he is almost another version of Drew Brees. Which again now pops the question.
He might be, but then again, a comparison's an opinion, and as you always say, an opinion's like a what, Ricky? Because
an asshole, like me.
Because everybody's got one.
And everybody thinks everybody else thinks.
But, I mean, look, comparing a player to a former player, it's not a bad thing. I mean, I get it. It's a comparison, which is an opinion,
but you also have to understand that you also have to understand, like a lot of people again, and I'm going to use this as like one of the weird ones, Jordan and LeBron, Kobe and Jordan, they're all different players. They're all unique in their own fashions. So comparisons are again like really, really hard to do. I honestly would not want to put him in a Drew Brees deal. I want to see what he can do outside of that shadow, kind of in a way. So that's where I lean.
Yeah.
All right, so we are done with the first part of our USFL coverage. Obviously, the next few weeks, we'll be bringing you more. The next show, I believe, maybe Saturday, we're going to go over the top 15 players that were drafted in the USFL, including some of these quarterbacks, because there are some names on here that may pique your interest. There may be guys that we bring to you that you've never heard of, but if we deliver it correct, the USFL will pay us, and we'll make you watch them games.
Speaking of these stats, it's like how Mr. John Misak says all the time, the numbers just don't lie. And they don't.
But I just don't, at some points, I look at the scouting departments, be like, hey, if these guys were on your team, that kind of makes some difference at some point, that they maybe should still be on an NFL roster. The one question I will find out is if these guys are signed to a USFL team, whether they can be plucked off of one of these teams to be put in an NFL roster. That information I do not know, but it is something that was kind of curious because if, let's say, Mr. Kyle Slaughter goes bananas and goes 1,400 yards after the first 3-4 games, and an NFL team is looking for another player, can he be taken off of this roster that way and then put on a preseason roster or signed to training camp or whatever? Like that information is not available to us right now. So for the next show, we'll be kind of covering that.
And I can't wait.
And the one last minute thing that we forgot to mention earlier in the show, Leonard Fournette re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 3 years and $27 million, I believe it is.
Sorry about that. I actually got one right before the game as well. The Miami Dolphins actually recently made a signing as well. If I can pull it up because my phone's acting weird.
Technology is all acting weird today.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's a bad habit.
It was 3 years, 21 million. My apologies. Corrected myself.
Well, it's good. You stand corrected. You're fine. It was Teron Armstead actually signed with the Miami Dolphins on a 5-year deal.
Yep.
I think it was $88.5 million. No, 87.5. Well, I was close. Yep. And that was it.
Alrighty. Have any final comments for everybody, Alex?
Nope.
All right. So on behalf of the Bearman, I am the Prez. I will be back on the air tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pipe Bomb Radio NYC. Wind Back Wednesday. The only show entitled Wind Back Wednesday. That is just insane. We will have a special guest host on tomorrow. I will leave that as special. And the year will be only found if you come and listen to the show. So, know that. New merch up on Threadless.com. The Attitude Collection will be up in the morning. So, there's the new Pipe Bomb Radio logo. There's some really, really cool, provocative NWO logos that we're going to have up there. Or NWO style logos. A whole bunch of brand new merch. The Attitude Collection. So, on behalf of the Bearman, I'm the Prez, and we are out of here. Hey, did you like that show? Like, share, follow, subscribe. Share out our shows to all of your social media. Need merchandise? Check out PainTrainPipeBomb.threadless.com for quality merchandise at great prices. Tune in next time for another edition of ArchRivals Football, and we'll catch you on the flip side.